Hello again, Professor Cowley. Good to talk to you. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna. This is my video response to those very interesting commercials from the Confederate States of America mockumentary. I'm just gonna go over, the four questions you have outlined in the module for this video response. Just because I got some things to really say about that movie and those commercials with my notes and everything. I just wanted to point out a couple things first. Again, I really appreciate it, and I do plan on watching. I do plan on watching the full movie when I get the chance this coming week, actually, because it just looks wild. Again, as soon as they started, getting into it and uh, watching that longer clip and everything of it, and it just being very much a Ken Burns inspired documentary and everything. I was like, oh, this is what we're getting into. And I've seen a lot of the Ken Burns documentaries, like the Civil War and the Vietnam War, the Roosevelts, jazz, baseball, country music, all that. Yeah, so I'm familiar with his style and everything, and they imitated it really well. There's another thing that I wanted to point out, considering that this movie, that this mockumentary was kind of revisionist history and all that. Was there was a TV show that came out in 2019 on HBO called Watchmen, and it was not a remake or not an adaptation of the graphic novel Watchmen, but a continuation of the story from the graphic novel and telling its own unique thing of it, like what's the fallout that happened from Watchmen, and again it touches on revisionist history and everything like that about the killings that happened in Oklahoma in the 1910s and 20s. If you're familiar with all that, and just a lot of crazy things with that. So I saw a lot of similarities there, and just wanted to point that out. If that wasn't on your radar, you should definitely give it a go. It's really good. So, what truths does the commercial address concerning history and the American experience? So I like how you have truths, in quotes there and everything, because again, when I was watching these, I was like, I know it's like, this is really scary how close, how accurate, these could be and everything, to actual products and stuff like that. I was just writing them down, and then as it turns out that all of them were actual products used, that were available here in the United States and in other countries and everything back then. It wasn't just the U.S. that was racist, but we're focusing on American culture and everything. So it was so much that it wasn't doing truths as it was just giving truths. Yeah, they didn't really need to exaggerate a whole lot of stuff, did they? And in that sense, the only way that they're giving these truths concerning to American history and everything is they're just putting a more modern sheen on it. With the cowboy and the tobacco product and all that. They didn't have that technology then to make that type of commercial for that product, but that they would if they could have. What fictions were present that may have manipulated viewers' emotions or distorted historical fact to make a point? I think the very first one, the Confederate family insurance, which was just so surreal to watch, because again, going back to those Ken Burns films, I remember seeing all those sponsorship commercials for these bigger documentaries that PBS would watch to be like, yeah, Confederate family insurance was a play on American family insurance, and those type of companies were big sponsors of these programs on PBS, and just giving it that quarter circle turn of, okay, they're calling it Confederate family insurance now, and it's protecting you and your property, and how it pans over to a black person working in their garden and all that. Just that really quick, almost kind of you miss it thing, but also like oh geez, Like that was really good. And obviously, that type of distortion, I mean, it wouldn't be too crazy of a distortion to think about, in an alternative history take and everything for us to feel for that to happen. And so that was definitely a way to kind of like shock the system and to really, really bring attention to these racial issues that obviously the people that made the film, Spike Lee, and that college professor, I forget his name right now, I feel so bad. So yeah, that was really interesting. How might the advertisement be an authentic reflection of contemporary America? Again, going back to those products, like, I mean, I was writing down products that I know existed, at the, during, racial, during very racist times in Jim Crow and everything, again, with Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, Mrs. Butterworth, those type of things, the Mammy and the Uncle Tom type of stereotypes, or racial stereotypes and everything. And again, I was writing down in my notes as I'm watching them, just like, this is so scary how like close to truth this is. And then, as we're watching the rest of the supplemental material and everything, you point out in your video that these all existed. These were all real products, and I didn't know. Oh, it just blew my mind, especially the tobacco product. I had to pause the movie and like just do the proverbial spit take. I'm just like, no, what the, no. Oh no, that is not good. These are bad things. These are very bad things. And again, like these are products. The way that the mockumentary set it up is like these are products that existed, and they're just using current technology. Even if it's a bit rudimentary, they were still using current technology to to show what these advertisements would have been like in modern days. And it's really quite jarring. It's scary, how realistic all of that felt, how very close to reality it is, and how, again, if there's a darker timeline than we live in that could exist, those would be products that would be in that timeline, that alternate universe. And then to also get to the final question, how are satire, parody, spoofing, culture jamming, and hoaxes used within commercials, and why? I mean, let me see here. The cleaning products with the two younger black children and everything. That one I really didn't want to believe that was real too, but that one was. But as for like satire and parody and spoofing, I mean, they really didn't have to spoof and do a lot of parody too much for these products, because again, they were real. These were things that existed, and so yeah, that was it was a lot. It was a lot. It again, I think that they really hit the nail on the head there of just showing that, like, again, not even going too far with their parody. They showed that, like, this could have been America. This could very well have been like what America, could have turned into, if some certain situations had gone differently. That's scary. It's absolutely scary. It's kind of funny. There are some people that I know, one that's an acquaintance, I don't want to call him a friend, but an acquaintance, who refuses to throw out his bottle of Aunt Jemima syrup. So he refills it with, current syrup and cleans it out and everything. But to him, the Aunt Jemima character, was something that he valued and treasured as a kid growing up and everything, as a part of his childhood. And he feels that this whole woke culture nonsense and cancel culture and everything goes too far and doesn't believe in it. And so he's fighting back on the little battles that he wants to, and that one is he is not going to get rid of his Aunt Jemima Mammy syrup bottle, which again is so dumb. But yeah, that's that's the kind of culture that we live in. People don't want to maybe put some more thought or search out for why some people might find that offensive. They just, all they know is that people are triggered by something. They think it's dumb, and so they're just going to retaliate. Yeah, we live in a very reactionary society. So there it is. Just wanted to kind of, throw my own little experience in with that, with these type of products that were oh so racist. Anyway, so that's my take. They didn't have to do a lot of parodying. They did not have to do a lot of exaggerating with these commercials, because yeah, it was pretty accurate for what they were. Anyway, thank you so much, Professor. I really appreciate it. Let me know if there's anything else you feel like I need to add or address to this, and we continue on. This was a fun module for me. I mean, even though it was very serious and very heavy-handed and all that, I really enjoyed it, because you'll see in my other assignment, the discussion post. I've seen a lot of Spike Lee's films, and I really like him. He's been one of my favorite directors, and I'll definitely enjoyed a lot of his films. From again, Do the Right Thing, to Black Klansman, to Defy Bloods, and X, Malcolm X biopic that Denzel Washington did, to even as less racially tension film, less racially controversial films, to even like Inside Man and all that, or Inside Job. One of the the one with Clive Owen. It was really good stuff. Even when he does just those type of pulpy heist type of films, he's really good. He's a fantastic director and very clever. So anyway, this was just a great section. Really enjoyed it. Rewatched Do the Right Thing and rewatched Black Klansman. I actually own Black Klansman on Blu-ray, so I'm proud to have that one in my collection. And I saw that, it's like, oh, that's awesome, heck yeah. But no, I wanted to do a dissection of Do the Right Thing and really just eat that film up. Anyway, appreciate everything you do, sir, and hope you have a good day. Okay, bye.